Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tales from the Fandom, the podcast that brings a special guest out of the multiverse and straight to you. Today's episode is brought to you by In the Reads. In the Reads provides beautiful, affordable artwork of the vibrant worlds found within your favorite books, TV, and films. From all wood bookmarks featuring illustrations and quotes from such fandoms as Star Wars, The Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, Outlanders, and more, to fantasy and real-life maps drawn in the style of Tolkien. Go to inthereads.com and check out what is available. Like something? Use code TALES10 at checkout to get 10% off your order. A link will be in the show notes along with the code. And now, let's get to the episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Tales from the Fandom. It is the end of September. I still cannot believe that time keeps on marching along as it does. I'm super excited to have somebody from Twitter that I have been following for quite a while. I have Mare. You might know them as ArchMageofDice on Twitter. Mare, how are you doing today?
I am doing good. A little tired. It is 9:30, but that's okay.
It is. I burned that I was going to say midnight oil, but like I guess 9:30 oil, something like that.
Close enough. I'm an East Coaster, and I just came out of my other recording, and it's fine.
It's all yes. This is fine as I sip coffee, and it's 9:30 at night.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'd be up till like 2 a.m. if I did that.
Oh well, hey, that's about what time I go to sleep on the average. But Mare, I've had the pleasure of following you on Twitter for quite a while. You're in the TTRPG circle that I'm in, but I'm not in because I don't really like play anymore. But it's nice to follow people that do play so I can live vicariously through you and like other people's journeys and games and all that.
As what normally happens in TTRPG circles, we're all just like orbiting around each other but never touching. I can't tell you how many times that has happened to so many people, and we're like, hey, I know you, but not really, but I also know you. We should play together sometime, but who knows when?
Right. It's like we should play together. Schedules.
The biggest BBEG ever.
Exactly. And it's funny that there's times where, especially on Twitter, I'm like, I thought I was following you. But it's like I'm seeing there like a lot of people's stuff shared from people that I'm following to the point where I'm like, I thought I was following you. It's very strange at times.
Also, Twitter sometimes is a button that like, unfollows people for you.
Oh my gosh. Or Twitter won't show me like the people that I am following. And I'm like, where have you been for the past 5 months? Oh, you've been posting. I've just not seen it.
The algorithm is continuously an enigma.
It is.
Like, I work with people who do some social media stuff in the TTRPG sphere, and they still don't understand it completely either.
Oh, it's mind-boggling. It's like not only Twitter, but like I know the people I follow on Instagram, it's like the same issues of just, and especially now like the announcement of like, oh yeah, it's Instagram, you need to be doing like videos or short videos. It's like, but I like sharing pictures. No, we don't want that anymore.
Yeah, I only just recently got into TikTok, so like I can't do Instagram or other stuff. It's all confusing. It's like, it's just that learning curve. And I'm just like, no, I'm not personable enough and like visually for this. I don't have the energy.
Oh gosh. I signed up for TikTok only to really like see people's work and like it there and comment on it on occasion. But it doesn't put it in order for me. So sometimes I'm seeing things from like months ago. And then like, I don't understand how to make a TikTok. I looked it up and I was like, I'm old, you know.
Yes.
Instagram was a challenge enough for me, and I got that part kind of going, but I'm not a video guy.
Social media is an enigma.
But we got some great stuff that we're going to be talking about, and one of the topics, one of the fandoms that we're going to be talking about is a video game that I hadn't heard, or I had heard of it because I'd always heard of it. It's like one of those games where it's like, oh yeah, you got to play this. Oh yeah, you got to play this. And I never got the chance to play it when it came out. But you are into the Golden Sun JRPG series.
I am. It is definitely my favorite and most nostalgic game from my childhood, and like we haven't done it this year yet, but we try to do like playthroughs like every other year or so, just because it's like we know how to play, we know where all the little secret paths are. Like we can go through it pretty quick, and it's just like this is great. I don't think I can ever get tired of it because like everyone has that one like anime or game or TV show or movie that you just like it's your comfort media.
Exactly. It's the thing where it's like I could play a new game, or I could just play this game that I love so much, and it just is, I love it.
Exactly.
Now, I'm looking this up because it came out Game Boy Advance back in like 2001, which I'm trying to figure out like why I didn't pick it up, but again, no idea. Probably, I think I was in college at that time. But how did you find out about it? Like, was it something that you stumbled across? Was it something that you're like, oh, I like the box art and I'm going to check it out? Like, what's your origin story with Golden Sun?
So when I was a wee babe, it was actually a Christmas gift. I got a Game Boy Advance for Christmas, and Golden Sun was actually like one of the games that I got. Had no clue what it was. I never actually even finished it. I played it, and then there's like a cutscene. You do some stuff where you're, typical hero adventure game. Your town is in danger, but you fail, and then there's like a time skip. After that time skip, I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't finish the game because I was young and didn't know what I was doing. And then I put it down for several years. And then I came back and actually finished it when I knew how to play video games.
I've been there, and watching Golden Sun, because I told you off recording, but just I have a friend that Golden Sun is his favorite game of all time. Like it's
got good taste. Real good taste.
Yeah, he's got great taste. And I'm watching him play it, and I'm thinking to myself, I played the Final Fantasy games back then, super into them. That's like my standard like RPG niche area is that, and I'm watching him play it, and I'm like, there would be times where I'd be watching him play, and I'm like, I have no clue how you understand where you need to go, or finding the djinn creatures. Like it just doesn't seem like obvious at times, like, oh, you need to go find this creature and do this. And
yeah, also just for the viewers, so you get like a little like bit more understanding about the game, it is your typical JRPG where you are teenagers and you need to save the world by lighting the lighthouses and releasing essentially what is magic. And you need to just go around and do that while chasing the bad guys, who are also your future wife's brother, who you thought died 3 years ago in a traumatic experience. And yeah, it's split into 2 games for the first half of the series, and in the second half you finish it up. Going back to your question, like, where do you go? It's one of those types of games where when you talk to people and you're like reading the narrative, it's slightly railroady, so you do know where to go, and there are creative roadblocks if you can't, so you don't have to go in other directions. Like seriously, one of the cutest roadblocks in the first game, like real beginning after the traumatic experience, but before you go save the world, there's just puppies playing, and like and there's a little pop-up dialogue box pops up and says, oh, they're playing, we shouldn't disturb them, let's find another route.
Yes, I remember that.
Like, it's just those little fun things. Or kind of like that one Pokemon game where a bunch of dancing guys are just blocking the road and that they'll move later.
Now, with the finding of the djinn, because that's like a huge thing for the game. Like it seems sometimes it's not obvious. Like, oh, I need to go get this. Like it feels like you could miss some if you're not like paying attention.
I'm trying to remember how many are in the first game. 7 times 4. I think it's like 28 in the first game. Like total, there's 8 times 9, like 72. So between the 2 games, but they're just kind of like hidden everywhere. Like it's a game where you need to find them. Some are very obvious that you get part of like cutscenes, or like they're right there. Others you find on the map. But unless you are a completionist or you played the game a lot or using a wiki, you could easily miss them.
Yeah, it did seem that way, and I was like, but what happens if you miss them? Like, are you not able to move forward with certain aspects, or are the ones that you need the ones that are like, okay, you're going to end up getting them somehow, so that way you can move forward?
The Jinn are just more like a tool to help you defeat enemies, or sometimes and like change your classes up and stuff like that. It's easier to have them just for a power level, but you don't need them. There's actually a lot of speedrunners that skip a lot of the Jinn because going off to get certain Jinn increases your time in a speed run.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so you can do it. I haven't seen a lot, but I've like watched a couple or like at least heard about it or talked with my partner about it because surprise, we might want to get into this later. We actually met because of Golden Sun. But yeah, speed running, ridiculous.
It is something where, like, whenever I watch speed running stuff, it boggles my mind as to how fast people can get through games. It's just like, how? I don't understand, but okay.
I think this game's somewhere between like around the 4-ish hour mark for world record.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, for the first game anyway.
That is wild.
Mm-hmm.
Now with Golden Sun, what was the hook? Like, I know you got it as a gift, you put it down, you picked it up a few years, like, a few years later, but what hooked you? Why did you like, or why is this like one of those like all in comfort games that you just love?
I started playing this game at a point in my life where like your imagination just starts taking off and you're like, oh, I want to just jump into a fantasy world and stuff like that. And that really just hit that fantasy hero itch. And then the story is actually really good. Maybe not compared to like some of the like newer games, but like for its time, even though it hits a lot of, tropes, it's fun. And it's just really enjoyable.
Are you a fan of the first one, or are you a fan of the sequel, or is it more of a you like them both and they have their good things and their bad things for them?
Yeah. So there is actually 3 games. You have the first 2, which are essentially one game but cut in half following 2 different parties. So the first game you're following the chasers trying to defeat the bad guys and stop them from releasing alchemy into the world. And in the second game, you're actually playing the people being chased and you're releasing alchemy into the world. And I actually enjoy the second game more. And in ranking, it's my favorite. It's the second game. Then second place is the first game. And then there's actually a third game called Dark Dawn that takes place 30 years afterwards, which is last place for me.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
What makes the second game for you like better than the first one? Is it because of like the characters, the storyline that you've got going on, or is it just something like with the way that the mechanics are?
The mechanics are the same in both games, more or less. They do add like one small thing, but it's not enough to be like game breaking or really be a major difference. But I liked the change in perspective. It's more open world, and I think it adds a lot more to the story and world building in general, because you're not like stuck to 2 continents like in the first game. You're exploring the rest of the world besides those first 2 continents.
Okay.
And it really, I'm not going to go into spoilers, even though the second game has been out for 20 years. But it does change your perspective and thoughts and opinions on where the first game's plot was going.
Okay.
Because you are playing from the perspective of the antagonists from the first game.
And that was the thing when with my streamer friend when he was playing, like it was such a weird shit, like because I've never played through them. It's such a weird shift. I was like, I don't know if I like following the bad guys around essentially in the second game. And then as you talk about like the open world, there's definitely times where just seeing him get lost in like the desert trying to find like which thing to go into, how do you get from this point here to like the point you need to go, And he like, there's definitely times where it's like, oh my gosh, like there's so many encounters because we're just trying to find the way out.
Yeah. And like the play style is something I enjoy in general as well. When I play video games, my top favorite is like puzzle games or like something where I'm not feeling rushed, like in a shooter or something along those lines. And then the turn-based RPG, I also don't feel rushed as well, and I don't need to worry about combos or dying from a one-hit KO like I've heard many, many times from Dark Souls.
Yes.
I don't play Dark Souls. I just know the pain.
Yeah, that is my type of game, is where I can take my time to think, and it's like, okay, like especially again going back to like Final Fantasy, where it's like when it was turn based, and okay, I can hit the button, let me think. I could walk away if I needed to. Nothing bad is going to happen to me. Anything beyond that is like first person shooters or the Souls type games, or even things like Kingdom Hearts. It's like, no, I cannot do it. It's too much for me going on.
Yeah. Like those, like puzzle games and like platformers are my jam. So, Ori and the Will of the Wisps and Blind Forest, A+ games, by the way.
And
really
beautiful,
good.
beautiful
Soundtrack, gorgeous graphics, will make you cry. So good.
With the Golden Sun games, do you have a favorite character from any of the games? Like who's your favorite?
The silent protagonist of the second game, Felix, who you think dies at the very beginning of the game during tragedy when a giant boulder falls on the town. He's, I can't really describe it super well, but it's like that solemn older brother, quiet trauma type of vibe.
Gotcha. And then I know that you're following him around in the second game with
the first game. You're following him in the first game. Yeah.
Felix's first game. Okay.
No, sorry. Felix's second game, you're following Felix in the first game.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
You play him in the second game.
Yes. Okay. Got it. It's so interesting that they took this game, because I heard it was like supposed to be one game, and then they cut it in half essentially.
I think it was for space reasons on the cartridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, that's an interesting way to put it. But it's something that I've never, like, I've never seen a game do what Golden Sun has, to where you are one set of, like, the one set, like, you know, you said, like, the chasers in the first one, and then, like, then you play the antagonist in the second one. It's like, I don't think I've ever seen a game that's really done what Golden Sun has, like just switching that whole perspective around. Like,
I don't think I've seen another game really do it either, now that you mention it.
It's such a cool concept of just like having like, okay, well, I wonder what's going on. Like, and that's always my thing as I'm watching the Golden Sun 2 playthrough, is I'm like, well, what's going on with the other characters that I know from Golden Sun 1? Like, what are they doing?
You do actually, in the second game, they catch up with you and they join you. Like,
oh, nice.
Sorry if it was a spoiler, but it's like 2/3 to 3/4 through the game when they show up.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. And don't worry about spoiling me, because it's definitely not something like. Unfortunately, I do not have currently just for everyone that is listening. You can only get it right now, like on the Wii U. Through their shop, and if you don't buy it by like March something, you're not going to be able to buy it at all, because they're closing down the Wii U shop and it's not on Switch.
I'm not saying you should use an emulator, but I'm also not saying you shouldn't.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You know, I'm sure if you do enough Google searching, things will be revealed to you.
How do you think all the speedrunners do it?
Yes, they're very fancy with their speedrunning abilities and their finding of things that they need to do to make their speedrunning games happen.
If someone might have to actually like Google it to get this fact correctly, but if I'm remembering correctly, for its time period when it was created, Golden Sun has one of the quicker frames per second. So it's really quick to go through, like turns in combat and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I'd have
sorry.
Yeah, I'd have to get the like official, like, not data, but the official fact, but something along those lines. All the tech stuff is my partner. I'm here just a fangirl.
That is A-okay. I mean, I don't know much about the tech side of stuff, so it's just like I'm here for the story and the games and people that like the games.
Mm-hmm.
I know you mentioned the third one, that there is a third one, and that's your least favorite of the three. Any particular reason for it, or it just didn't hit that sweet spot of like the first two?
The graphics were fine. It was made for the DS, I believe, the DS or the 3DS or something along those lines. You know, one of the ones with the flip. But the third game kind of like steps on some of the lore of the first game. The plot isn't as tight. You're like, where did some of these things come from? Overall, it's good, but some of it definitely feels rushed and like splat together. And not to mention, they left us on a cliffhanger and we still don't have a Golden Sun 4, like, I don't know, at least 10 years later. Hold on, I'm gonna Google it. When did Dark Dawn release? October 2010. So the third game is 12 years old. And we still don't have a Golden Sun 4. We're all very spicy about it. The entire fandom's so spicy.
And that is something like that. Just I told somebody about the first one. I was like, I don't understand how, the first one, like, it feels like you're like either done with it or then you leave off and then you're like, oh, there's a second game, and it's like, oh, well, here comes the second game, and then like I just like cliffhangers. I cannot stand cliffhangers that don't get resolved.
So there was a year off between the first and second game. So 2001 to 2002, a little less than a year. And then the third game came out in 2010, and it was 8 years after the second one.
Gotcha.
And I have a cat in here. Hi, Louie. You want to come say hi? Hold on. I will turn the camera on for you. Come here. Here you go.
There's a cat. You cannot see this cat, just FYI, people that are listening. But there's a cat.
And he's very cute and very loving and very obnoxious. I'm going to let you go now.
Goodbye, cat. Goodbye, Louie. So if people are playing, or if people are listening, right, and they're like, okay, you know what, I have a Wii U, or I have the ability to get the games however you get them, I assume you would recommend, like, hey, you need to at least like give these games a try.
Mm-hmm. Even though I guess a lot of people do have like a soft spot for retro games, because these are retro games now. They're older than 20 years old. Well, at least the first two are. As long as you're open-minded to remembering that these were released 20 plus years ago, and even for the time, the graphics are actually really good for a 20-year-old game for that era. Like, if you compare it to like other games, it's like completely different. There's like sprite animations for like summons. They're beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I highly recommend it. Yeah, it's a little tropey, like saving the world, everything's on your shoulders, etc., etc. But sometimes those tropes are endearing in a way.
Indeed. And it's interesting because I'm reading the reviews of the original one, and they called it like the best original Game Boy Advance RPG to date. There's another one that said easily the best original RPG on the Game Boy Advance.
Yes.
And somebody even said best handheld role player ever back when, when Golden Sun released.
Right, yeah.
Which that's phenomenal reviews. If I was reading the reviews, I'd be like, dang, I need to get this game because I like games that are called like the best original RPGs.
And if you're a fan of RPGs, I highly suggest playing it in a way you can get a hold of it.
Yes. Any way you can get a hold of it. Dun, dun, dun.
There are copies, like hard copies, floating around somewhere. I still have mine somewhere.
I almost broke into the Five Mouskowitz, like somewhere out there song, but I'm restraining myself from doing that because it would not make for good podcasting. So definitely everyone go check out Golden Sun. play it if you can. There's some really cool stuff in there. The puzzles are really cool. I like the puzzles, and I like that they you can reset the puzzles if you mess up, or if you get caught, you automatically get reset, and that's really neat.
You just need to walk out of the room and then walk back in. And then I'm hoping he doesn't hear me, but like my partner used to do like gag comics on the games, on like these little things that like happen in like because of the stuff that happens. And you know what? I'm just going to leave it at that. He'll probably get really frustrated at me, embarrassed. So never mind.
Gotcha.
Let's just say stuff from our Tumblr days.
Oh, Tumblr.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing that I, as an old person, did not understand, and just was like, no, I don't understand. I'm not gonna deal with it.
It's a lot of shit posting. That's really what you need to know about it. A lot of shit posting and a really great post tagging system.
Well, that is good to know. Again, I probably won't ever use it. And when people tell me about their Tumblrs, I'm like, okay, you just keep on keeping on with that. Mare, again, we circle each other and found each other through tabletop role playing games.
Yes.
And I guess my first question is how did you get into tabletop role-playing games? Was it through the internet at first? Was it through like you know, going to a bookstore and being like, hey, look, there's a book called Dungeons and Dragons, or the various other RPGs that are out there, like Vampire, Werewolf, Star Wars, like all sorts of stuff? Where did you originally get your start?
So I think I've always kind of like been interested in it, like very far away, looking at it from like an arm's length away. And then in college, my roommate and her partner were like, hey, do you want to play in Dungeons and Dragons? And I'm like, sure, I've always wanted to play. And then we just like met, I don't know, I think it was like every week for a certain amount of time. We played 3.5 Red Hand of Doom module, and it was just fun. And at that point in time, I was like, okay, this is really fun. I want more content. And so then at that point, I started listening to, you know, the Adventure Zone Balance, and okay, I caught up with that. And then I found your Eberron podcast, listened to that. And then basically it was a lot of, okay, I'm hooked. Where can I find more content? I followed you, some of your players, and then from like following your players, other contacts led me into the online TTRPG streaming spheres, and it was like found communities, and then I started getting into streaming. So thank you for getting me into streaming TTRPGs.
I'm just amazed that there's people out there that remember the podcast that I did, or that, you know, that I hosted, or, you know, I don't know, like, I didn't do it alone, obviously, but it's nice that there's people out there that remember it.
Yeah, because like when I found your podcast, I was at that time I found another group, because my partner and I moved into a condo together, and then we're like, okay, there's a game shop nearby. Let's go play and try to get a group together. And that's where we met our GM, who was not running Adventures League. He was just like, this isn't going to be Adventures League, but I'll still run stuff for you. And he was an Eberron GM. And then it went from there. And then I was like, I loved Eberron. It's so freaking cool. Fuck Faerun. Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. I fully support that comment right there.
Like, Faerun's fine, but it's not as cool as Eberron.
Gosh, I wish more people like knew and like were into like. I'm not gonna turn this into like just Eberron community hour or anything. You know, there's other people that do it better.
Let's just put it into like let's just add this to my fandoms, because I'm getting nostalgic. I haven't played like D&D like religiously in a long time, let alone Eberron. But there was a point like several years ago where like really into Eberron. I was, not that anyone from work is going to be listening to this, but I was reading Eberron source books on the clock, and I worked to find all of the hardcover source books.
Oh gosh, and some of them, I think there's
hard.
are hard and expensive.
Yes.
Like,
I
I
think it's
think
like
it's what
the dragon one, I think is really hard to find. I think that's the one I had the most trouble finding.
I think the one that everyone talks about is the I think it's City of Stormreach, perhaps.
I don't know if I have that one, but
It's
still.
the one. It's City of Stormreach is the one about Zendrick. Yes.
Oh no, I think
yeah.
I think I have the Zendrick one, but like I found someone selling a lot of the books on eBay, so I got most of them, and then I had to like find like 1 to 3 of them solo.
Yeah, Stormreach. It looks like is someone's got it listed for about $260 right now.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
I'm glad I started looking it back in 2017.
Yeah, I love Eberron. It's my favorite setting. And I will blatantly admit that what pulled me in, what hooked me was halflings riding dinosaurs. Like
yeah.
that I will forever like that's the thing, like say no more. But then there's so much out there that I just love, and it's like anytime I see anything like Eberron, I'm like like even stuff I don't play, and I still buy stuff off of like the DMs Guild from people that are creating Eberron material, because I'm like, I need to keep that alive, because I feel if people would just be able to take some time to like learn about Eberron or get into Eberron, it would be like that setting that people are like, yeah, let's do it, versus Faerun, which is like, okay, standard run of the mill thing.
Typical high fantasy. We need more Eberron wide magic fantasy.
Yes.
Listen, I really enjoyed what Keith Baker created with Eberron, and actually when we went to Gen Con in 2019, we actually, like at the height of us playing our Eberron campaign, we actually got to talk to him, and that was the best experience ever.
I will tell you that as a podcaster, and I've been doing this for like 6 years, there's people that I'm still amazed that have come on and talked to me, and Keith Baker is one of those, where I was like,
oh my god, that's amazing.
I do not understand how I got this opportunity, but I'm so excited that you said yes. And just like Christian Serrano, who did Manifest Zone with Keith, and produced some other Eberron stuff, like the Eberron Savage Worlds conversion that we used. Like getting to hear people's stuff about Eberron is just, it's so wonderful for me. Like personally, like I don't know what more to say. Like it's just get Eberron.
Like if D&D didn't stress me out in terms of running it, I would probably run Eberron again. Also, I have like another million ideas going in my head, like just add it to the list. But maybe like running it in a different system like you did with Savage Worlds, or running it in Monty Cook's game Cypher system, which is is much easier in terms of GM prep, because D&D is fine, but it can be so stressful to prep, and I think I only really just want to play it, let alone running it in 3.5. No.
See, like when I played Eberron 3.5. That was my introduction to the Eberron thing. I'd been playing 3.5 since it had come out, but I ran a play-by-post 4th edition Eberron game, which was pretty cool because it's more like role play versus like rolling, but it was such a fun thing to do with a group of people that just could write, but then like just it kind of worked with, and I know a lot of people poo-poo 4th edition, but there's some good stuff that they did for it.
I've heard some pros and cons. I've never played it myself, but I've heard it's got its ups and downs.
I think the one thing that I still haven't found, either like as a book or as reading, or like an actual play, is I'd love to like hear or see a game done underwater in Eberron, because it's always talked about like, oh, like the whole underwater colonies and the creatures that live down there. It's like I've never seen like a great underwater campaign, and I'd love to see one done.
I've never actually done a lot of reading on the underwater inhabitants of the Eberron setting, so that would be very interesting. There's not enough underwater campaigns.
There's not, and I don't know if it's just because they're like typically like humans, elves, dwarves, halflings, etc., like are not made to be underwater. So it's like I guess you need more information or more things on like how an underwater campaign would actually work. But
Yeah.
that's not for my big brain to deal with.
I am in a game, a streamed game. We're still trying to figure out when season 2 is going to come out, but it is a mostly water-filled continent. So the GM has thought about like how to handle the non-aquatic races. So
Okay.
but we can talk about that more like when we get to the TTRPG section.
Sure. Well, I think we're in the TTRPG section, but I've got
Segue.
more questions. So you got into so you got from college, Dungeons and Dragons. You got the Eberron game going on. You discovered the TTRPG community and like the actual plays and stuff like that. And I know you just mentioned like Dungeons and Dragons. It's not the easiest sometimes and not the best. Have you played a lot of other games? Like, are you into, or do you favor certain like TTRPGs over Dungeons and Dragons? If so, like, I'm curious to know like what they are.
Yeah, so I feel like everyone's segue into TTRPGs is Dungeons and Dragons because that's the big IP. Everyone knows what you're talking about when you say Dungeons and Dragons. It's just easier to say that instead of tabletop RPGs every single time. But since getting into the streaming scene, like meeting new people, especially throughout the pandemic when you're like, just home and you need something to do, it really opened my eyes to a bunch of other systems. So towards the beginning-ish of when I started streaming, not then friend, but now a really good friend of mine, got me into a TTRPG called Invisible Sun by Monty Cook Games. And now that's my main system. And then I've really branched off into other indie or TTRPGs or non-D20, non-D&D systems. Just as I mentioned earlier, running D&D stresses me out. I find it really high maintenance, personally. And there's a lot of other systems out there that can tell not better narratives, but narratives that will better suit the story you're trying to tell. Like, you don't have to force everything into Dungeons and Dragons mechanics.
Yes, that's always the thing, especially and I'm sure that we both are seeing it on Twitter. It's like, why are you using 5th edition D&D stuff for this whatever, right? Instead, you could use this game system that somebody has created, this other TTRPG that is for that game that you want to play. And it's like, what? Like, it's out there. Like, I understand that a lot of people, they get in through D&D and they get in through like currently 5th edition, and that's what they know, and everyone's like, okay, well, if you know that, we'll just gear towards that. But it's like, if you even took like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and went out there and looked for it, I guarantee you will find a game system that works better for what you want to do than D&D or than Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition.
Yeah, like, not that I've played this game, but like, why try and force yourself into adjusting a monster stat block like a vampire when you can just play Vampire the Masquerade?
Exactly, which is my favorite TTRPG. Like, I entered through D&D, but my heart is for Vampire back in like the late 90s and early 2000s. Like, that was my thing back then, was like Vampire and Werewolf and Mage, and like, that was my thing back then.
I've heard it's a good game, but I have yet to play.
Put it on your list.
It is on my very long list. It's not as long as my friends, but I do have a TTRPG folder on my desktop that is just a lot of PDFs.
Oh gosh, that is the one thing that, especially with Kickstarter, as like at a certain point, I told myself, and I said, if I'm not going to buy an actual book, I cannot support it, because I have so many PDFs on my computer that are just unopened, never looked at, never touched. And it's like, I want to support you, but me buying the PDF will do nothing for me. And it's just going to live on my like second or third hard drive, and I'll be like, I don't know what this is, I don't remember, and then I'll have no one to play it with anyway. Like that's the other thing is, I just can't find people to play at this point.
It's hard, and then just lining up schedules is a pain.
Schedules. I'm shaking my fist over here. Now with Invisible Sun, I remember when it came out on Kickstarter, like the big black box and everything.
I missed the Kickstarter, and I wish I didn't.
Like it bought, like, I remember one of my friends, at least one of them, had got it because I had moved down here to Florida and they were up in North Carolina, and so like they're like, oh yeah, we're all like chipping in to have the box so that way the gaming group can have like the whole thing, right? And I'm like, oh gosh, like that'd be wonderful, but I can't afford the box because I'm not even playing anything down here. And yeah, it's wild. So for people that don't know, because now we've talked about Invisible Sun for a few moments, it's like, what is Invisible Sun? Like, what is the game? What's the draw? Like, why should people play it?
Yeah. So Invisible Sun is a tabletop RPG. It uses like D10s and D10 dice. And it's basically a very surreal player-driven game. The starting plot of the game, regardless of what you do, because I'll get into this in a second, but the players are spellcasters called Vizsla, and there was a great big old war in the city of Satyrine, and you lost. And while the war was going on, you and a bunch of other Vizsla spellcasters self-exiled yourself to the Gray, also known as our world that you and me are in right now, like quote unquote our real world. And after the war came back, you go back to the actuality, which is the actual real world, this surreal place, and you are adjusting from quote unquote normal life to this surreal, fantastical life where you have magic. And I don't want to call it a slice of life, because the way the system works is during character creation, you choose character arcs, and which is your own type of goal that you're trying to achieve, and the game master kind of weaves all the players' character arcs together, and you play that way. This is my favorite system, mostly because of that. It's truly a collaborative game. It is player driven. And the biggest mechanic of the game is something called the Sooth deck, which is basically this game's systems of tarot cards that you can use as inspiration to further the narrative. It's a lot, and I love it. Like when you were talking about the cube, because I didn't back the Kickstarter. I found out about it like after the Kickstarter already ended, and I was fortunate enough to be cast in an Invisible Sun campaign. If you want to check that out, it's called Invisible Sun Reclamations on Open for Adventure. Really good. That was my first ever streamed campaign, so baby me. Oh yes, because I found the cube on eBay, secondhand, miracle. Don't know how I did it, and it's huge. There's a lot of cards for all the spells and objects, and it's huge. And like I've been running it since well over a year now. This is the system I've run the most campaigns in, and it's just been getting harder and harder to find physical copies, and I've found 2 for friends of mine.
Wow.
It cost over $100 to ship to Canada, but it was worth it for my friends.
Oh my gosh, shipping.
Shipping.
Yeah.
It's like it was like 25 to 30 pounds.
See, that's when you just like find a cheap airline ticket and fly it up. Like, here you go.
If it wasn't pandemic, I should have just driven it over the border.
There you go. Yeah, that is definitely something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for people, I guess like it's again, Dungeons and Dragons is like that whole like it's got the game system or game people like. It's hard to find people that will get out of D&D to try other games.
Yeah.
So if people are into D&D now, like what would you be like, what would your selling point be to be like, hey, take a break and try Invisible Sun? Like how would you get them to switch over?
A bunch of my players, I have gotten to play the game simply by showing them the art book. The art is gorgeous. It is surreal and fantastical, and it has intrigued at least half of my players in getting them interested in learning more about the game. Also, me breaking down character creation and how to play, and in my opinion, being good at explaining it to newbies, I think helps.
That definitely helps, because there are games with especially that Monty Cook has done, Invisible Sun being one of them, where I try to wrap my head around them, and it's like my brain does not compute sometimes, like and like Invincible Sun is one of them, and then another one is like Numenera, where it's like I
Yeah.
have the book and I've read the book, but I need to like see it in action to understand what is going on, because like it's just so much, and like I just, my brain does not compute the whole like, oh well, it's been like 9 bajillion years, and I don't like, is it high fantasy, is it like sci-fi, like it's so much different things going on at once.
Especially with Invisible Sun, you gotta suspend your disbelief and like actually play a little bit, which would be helpful with people like who have played the game before, to really understand not what you're capable of, but like understanding that you are capable of doing anything in the system, because you can do just about anything in the system. Some of the spells are absolutely wild.
Oh my goodness. And see, that's one of the things where, and I know some people that run it and stream it and do things with the game. It's like I need to like watch, but at the same time, watching stuff on Twitch is different versus like listening to like an actual play of it, where it's like, okay, I don't have to be watching for everyone's like facial expressions, or like listening for like the inside joke if it's like a podcast type thing where they clean it up and they make it more just, the game and describing what's going on. But that, again, that is a personal thing. So if you're listening, like maybe watching a Twitch stream will help and be a beneficial thing.
Yeah. At least for on my end, like I do a lot of roleplay heavy games where the dead air is minimal, and I've actually I've actually listened to a lot of my old games without watching them for facial recognitions, and it's actually pretty easy to follow. But that might just be because I fawn over my friend and favorite game master, and they're just a really good game master. Hi, Alex.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Invisible Sun is like your favorite.
My bread and butter.
Your bread and butter. What's your what's I don't want to say like sides, but like what like if you had like another 2 or 3 game systems that you'd be like, okay, you know what? Maybe Invisible Sun's not for you, but you should try these other game systems.
If you'll give me a second, I'm just going to open up my TTRPG folder.
Of course.
Invisible Sun is my favorite for obvious reasons that I've already gone into. I don't run a lot of one-shots, but when I do, there is a very cute little game called Witches and Spellcraft by Margaret Crone. You can find her on Twitter. I think it's just at Margaret Crone, but it's really easily searchable on Google, where you're just playing a bunch of little witches at school, and you build your school together and your professors before the game starts, and it's just super cute, and I love it. Also, you can support an indie creator, so that's my like little go-to for one-shots that I just like pick up randomly. If I haven't run it yet, but I have played a lot of it, which is the Cipher System, also by Monty Cook Games. It's very focused. It focuses on like narrative instead of like, mechanics, like a lot of D&D does. And the best part about it is it's system agnostic. So you can run it in any setting, any genre, and there's guides, but it's system agnostic, setting agnostic, and you can run it in any genre. There's how-tos and suggestions for each of the classes, and magical abilities on how to run it in a bunch of different genres too. So also really, really love that. And let's horror. How about horror? There is a nautical horror game called Sunken, which it's a one shot. It's designed for one shots, but if you want to die out at sea and you don't mind your character dying and just are afraid of the deep ocean, play Sunken. Also, just the layout of the book is gorgeous.
I'm gonna have to look that one up because
it's really cool.
I love like little like neat little like ideas like that of where it's like, okay, we're just gonna do this and everyone's gonna die, but we're gonna do it in a way that everyone will enjoy it. Hopefully.
Yes, consensual murder of your PCs is always fun in TTRPGs. Oh, also speaking of consensual murder in TTRPGs, 10 Candles is great for a Halloween spooky season type of system. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I've heard of it only with talking with other people that play TTRPGs, just very briefly, like that you actually have like lit candles and then like you extinguish them as things happen, I believe.
Yeah, so the premise of 10 Candles, there's like a bunch of different scenarios that you can play it in, but 10 days ago, the sun went out, as did all of electricity and lights, and then they came. And then you play throughout your scenario while avoiding them. And they're dangerous. And the 10 candles will eventually extinguish, whether by accident from a dog running by or they just go out themselves. And when all 10 candles are out, you start describing the deaths of your characters. And it is horrifying and so much fun.
I'm just going to say, and I apologize for what I'm about to say because I'm bringing it back to Eberron, but I could just imagine playing a Eberron themed game with 10 candles after the morning happened.
Oh, I was about to say the morning.
Yes, as like, just imagine like you're all in sear and like that's what's happening is like as the 10 candles are going out, things are happening.
And let me just write this down. 10 candles in sear after the morning.
There you go.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
You are welcome.
If I run it and I stream it, I'll tag you.
I will promote the heck out of it and be like, look, you heard it here on this podcast episode.
Halloween is coming up.
It is. I mean, this episode comes out in September, so it's right around the corner. 10
Candles gets really popular around October. Just saying.
Awesome. Now, I guess before we switch over to like the flip side of what you do in TTRPGs, when you are playing TTRPGs, do you have like a typical go-to like style of character that you play? Like, or do you always play like a certain style, or do you like for every game are you branching out and being like, you know what, I'm going to try this type of character and this type of character?
I try to play different like class combinations as much as I can, but for character archetypes, I fall into like 2 or 3 different genres of character. One, just nice, right? Then you have nice and nerdy. And then you have complete asshole. There's very few in between.
Well, those are good, you know, a good I was going to say amalgamation, but it's totally not that word. A good spread of character, you know, background type things of what you do for your character.
I play a lot of spellcasters.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I am not a spell casting person. Like if I run a spellcaster, it's like a cleric or a druid where it's like, okay, I kind of know how many spells I get and stuff, but I started, you know, 3 and 3.5, and even like when I was like doing 2nd edition D&D, like I had to have my DM tell me like, just tell me how many spells I have because I cannot figure it out. I like, again, you know, keeping track of stuff like that. It's like, oh, well, if I increase my intelligence score by 1 point, like what? Now I have like a whole bunch more. Like what?
Cast. Yeah, it was a lot. We used a program to do our 3.5 character sheets.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I tend to stay away from spellcasters. It's like let me just like hit things or like be sneaky, stuff like that. Like that's the way I tend to go.
I like sneaky too.
Sneaky is always fun.
I'm playing in a game that the one I was saying before, like we're waiting for season 2 in the aquatic world. I am playing a centaur rogue.
Nice.
She's great. I love her.
Wrapping my head around that, but nice. Like
centaur
like...
rogue in an aquatic setting. Yeah, it's great. I made it work, and it's not a slapstick character.
Well, that is wonderful. Now I'm just thinking of like seahorses. But
there was a concern and curiosity if I was going to turn into a seahorse when I hit the water. I did not.
I am very happy for that. Oh my goodness. All right. So you got your TTRPG stuff. You love gaming, and you love it so much that you also do stuff on Twitch. Like, and we've talked about it. As we've been talking about like everything that's been going on in this episode. How did you? I know you listen to podcasts and you're watching actual plays and stuff streaming. How did that happen? Like, how did you go from listening to like getting involved in the streaming world or streaming space of TTRPGs?
Yeah. So as I said earlier, I found the Eberron podcast, and I followed a bunch of players, and I followed some of their friends, and it basically led me to a streaming community. And the way the streaming community worked was anyone could go through like maybe not a recruitment process, but like a player recruitment process to run or play on stream for the channel. And so I started doing that, and I was really like in the forward momentum stage. And I just I don't want to say like I steamrolled my way in, but like now that I'm looking back on it, like I kind of did because I was just super excited. Like they didn't say no, and I got myself to learn how to produce. And it just kind of went from there. I taught myself how to produce, use at that time Streamlabs OBS, make my own overlays, and I've just kind of been doing that since. That community has since is no longer active. So, but like I have friends who stream, and I have joined another community as part of the leadership team and as a producer. And so I run a lot of my own streams now, either with friends or in the current communities that I'm in.
What is it like being a producer? Because I've seen people that I follow, because I'm sure we might even follow them together. But what goes into producing a TTRPG stream?
So I just want to preface this by saying like you can stream just about anything, but in the TTRPG sphere, especially when you start getting into performances, there is a huge difference between running a home game with just a bunch of friends just playing and putting on a production.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna be talking about this from a production standpoint and putting on a show for an audience, not so much just a bunch of just friends playing and streaming it online.
Right.
So just so people are clear on where I'm talking about and where from my experiences. But there is a lot on the production side of things. And depending on who you're working with, whether you're with a team or you're heading off the project, you're doing more than just producing. You are also project managing. You are getting people together. You are organizing people. You're trying to get schedules to line up and schedule session zeros. And then when you finally have all that figured out, you can finally start getting into advertising, making sure you have the promotional images ready for advertising and posting those so you have the social media aspect of it, and also just creating all of the stream assets. And if you're commissioning art, you're in contact with the artist as well, and it's a lot of moving parts. It's very rewarding, but it's a lot of work to put on a show, and a lot of people I don't think really understand and realize that. And I encourage people to do this if this is something they want to do, but just be informed and on how much work it goes into it, you know?
And that's one of the things whenever I see people talk about being a producer for a show, like my original understanding was, oh, like maybe they're on the controls essentially where they can like boost audio levels or like switch camera scenes or, you know, certain
Yes.
things like that. And that's like the extent of the producing role. And like
And
it took a while to like understand like, oh, there's more to that.
and that's what a lot of it is. Being like when people think producer, you think they're just running tech and everything, which definitely is true. But there is a lot of stuff going on before you even get on the Zoom call and hit play or hit start stream on the day of a stream, you know. And this varies wildly from channel to person on who is doing what. But a majority of the time, people I've worked with and the shows I've worked on, producers also creating a lot of stream assets as well for their stream specifically.
It is something that like it blows me away whenever I do like pop in and check out stuff, and it's like the layouts, the how it's all set up, the way, especially now with like closed captioning for the group and for like like the individuals.
Mm-hmm.
It's something where I'm like, I can like, I'm thinking about like how I stream occasionally on Twitch just for like a video game. I'm like, because I totally, it's like very much like I can get the game going and I might have like an overlay that I downloaded from somewhere and that's the extent of it.
And there's
And it's like,
nothing wrong with
okay,
that.
it works. And it's like, but the level of detail that has to go into like the TTRPG stuff is a lot. And I'm like, man, it takes somebody getting it done to make it look as good as, you know, I've seen them out there.
And a lot of us are wearing a lot of different hats too. Like, I'm part of the Friends Who Roll Dice Twitch channel as part of the leadership team and as a producer. And we are a lot of us are doing a little bit of everything from project managing, wrangling game masters and players, especially when we're doing like a fundraiser or charity stream. We're like trying to get all of that worked out, filling spots, making sure everything's organized, and then like between all the producers creating the overlays and figuring out schedules.
Right. And it like for people out there, like and hopefully like I guess for people that might not understand, you know, this is a lot of work, and I know some people don't get paid, some people do get paid, just depending on like the stream and the channel and like the groups behind it and stuff. And I know that it's moving into like a more like, hey, people needs to be paid for their time thing. But yeah, it's definitely something where I'm like, I don't know how people balance like everything else that they have going on plus this on top of it.
Like, I am also asking that same question because I work a full 9-to-5 job as well, and I do see people that do a lot more than I do in the TTRPG space and like who are going places, and I'm just like, how do you do this? I really want to know how you do this, please.
Yeah, it is absolutely something, you know, beyond what people are looking at, and they're like, oh, you know, you come in and you watch and you're like, hey, that's cool, thanks a lot for the cool fun times. But it's like, man, it is absolutely something to see, like to hear about like the back end type stuff and like the production stuff and everything that goes into it. It's a lot more than people expect.
Yeah, like it's being talked about a little bit more. It's being talked about more often nowadays, and people are being transparent on how much work it is. But a lot of people, especially those who are not super familiar with streaming or are only like a bystander who watch the TTRPG streams, they look at games like Dimension 20 and Critical Role and think that just anyone can do it at the drop of a hat, when it's a lot of work, and looks much easier than it really is. I don't want to discourage anyone from ever trying to do this, but I'm hoping that at least what I've talked about right now has made it a little bit more transparent on how hard a production can be. Then elaborate, but like specifically to like put on a show, you know?
Yeah. If people are listening and they're like, you know what, hey, I would like to try my hand at like getting into a game, like, you know, as a player, like what advice would you give to those people that are interested in at least like, hey, you know, I like tabletop role playing games. I'd like to try my hat at, you know, playing in a game.
On stream, you mean?
Yes, yeah, on stream.
So a friend of mine who's actually works in like the TTRPG industry kind of like talked about this several weeks ago. Joshua M. Simons on Twitter. Go follow him. He's super cool, super great, really nice, really knowledgeable. Actually kind of like talked a little bit about this several weeks before this is being recorded. But I would suggest if you want to start getting into TTRPG streaming, and you're not sure where to start, is try and find a community if you can, or try and find charity games, because charity games are usually going to be like a lot of one-shots, and they're usually looking for players. And that's like a good like step in to put your foot in the door, to be quite honest.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the easiest one I can think of off the top of my head right now. Or also, honestly, shoot your shot. Be nice about it. Be polite. The worst that's going to happen, someone's going to say no. But it never hurts.
And I was going to say, I have noticed over the course of probably the past year that there's a lot of new names and a lot of new faces in whatever, like that, you know, again, Twitter and this algorithm, that whatever comes across my timeline, I'm like, oh, hey, look, there's new people. There's new faces. There's new people playing. And it thrills me to no end and makes me super happy when I see like a bunch of new people that I've never heard of. And then even like, you know, when I go and check out their Twitter accounts and stuff, it's not the same people in the same circles, like, and maybe they're trying out TTRPGs for the first time or getting into streaming for the first time. It's really been something to see lately, has been the new influx of people instead of it's like being the same. And I was going to say about like 25 to 30 faces, but it's like they all rotate through the different streams at some point. And it's like, okay, like I know if I'm following, and I'm not going to say anybody's names or anything, but if I'm following a certain channel, right, I typically know like half the people that are going to be in the game to begin with. Like, because it's just, that's how that group runs it. And they'll rotate through or have different, like, one of the players will be the GM for the next one and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, like I understand who's at your table, so to speak. And it's like, I am digging that there's new communities and new, you know, streaming groups that are popping up and having new faces.
Yes, absolutely.
I guess, and I don't want to keep like going on about Twitch streaming with the games. Are there games that lend themselves better to be streamed versus games that aren't as well streamable?
This is an interesting question because it really depends on what the goal of your stream is going to be. If you want to market to a specific type of viewer base, and it's a, I hate to say this, but it's a really it depends answer. Like, if your goal to stream is just to play a game with your friends, play a game with your friends that you're all going to enjoy. But if you're doing it more for a production, you want to put on a show that's heavy on roleplay or cosplay. I personally like the roleplay heavy games, but I think you can do any system with enough work and planning in the right group dynamics.
Is it hard as a producer to find those group dynamics, because I like, and it's like one of those things that pops up from time to time on Twitter. It's like, oh, who would your ideal table be to play with?
Yeah.
And people always have like that, they're like, oh yeah, these 4 people would be wonderful to play with. And I'm sure that works sometimes, but like, is it like, especially like, I guess during a session 0 where you feel out and it's like, okay, maybe this person might not work well for this group. Let's move them to a different group type thing.
So I'm still doing casting stuff. Like I'm still getting the hang of it. Like, who would be good for group dynamics, and not because I don't put the work in, but because my reach is still pretty small and like who I have and haven't played with. So I actually rely on a lot of my friends and other leadership team members for their experience as well, because a lot of them have played a lot of games with a lot of people. So I think I personally think it can be hard, but I'm also particular because I am looking for those group dynamics and what will go well. And I have gone, let me think, for the last 3 out of my 4 streamed short-term campaigns, I have held like 30-minute interviews with potential players to get that vibe if I have never played with them before. So it can be hard if you're new to the scene and you just don't know a lot of people or don't know their dynamics or personality well, but it gets easier the more you do it and in general. And also networking. Like a lot of networking is just making friends and just being friendly and being kind to people, and that goes a long way.
Absolutely. That's like the TTRPG community on Twitter. Like sometimes it feels really big, but it's also really small.
Yes,
and it's like
absolutely,
like it's like the same essentially, like when we talked about on Twitter, it's like we're all rotating around each other. And sometimes we'll be all in alignment, and then other times it's like, oh, there's like the little groups here and there and different solar systems, and it's like it's definitely something where things it's just so interesting. Like the whole community dynamic on social media is something where it's like sometimes like sitting back and watching and like listening and seeing what's going on. It's definitely something to like, just if you're getting into it, a lot of the time is like follow people and then just sit back and see, I guess, like how things are run and who they interact with and talk. And it's super easy to find people. Just there's good people out there, lots of good people.
I do wish getting into TTRPG streaming was more accessible for newbies. And in general, I do think that there are some programs out there that can do that. Like I haven't done it yet, but there is a tabletop mentorship program that happens every once in a while. I think it's like I don't remember exactly what it's called, but tabletop mentorship. And I know there's a desire to mentor people just in general on like a case-by-case basis or community basis, but the reality of the situation is we are tired and stretched thin. We would love to do it, but we just don't have the manpower.
Yeah, it's definitely something where if you're interested in doing like Twitch or like through streamed tabletop games, it's definitely like, as you had put it, Mare, like you're going to have to put yourself out there. And again, like with it, like how you said, the charity games are a great way to get in. Because that's something that I always see people looking for players to do, because it's just like that one shot type thing, and you can get your feet wet, and then you can like get to know the people that are at your virtual table, so to speak, and kind of go from there. Like, but yeah, like I think my best advice, especially for tabletop stuff, is follow some people that you like, follow the people that you're interested in, and sit back and watch and follow and see who they're interacting with, and see how you're vibing with them and vibing with what they're putting out, and eventually I think people can get into it and get cast. And Join the community.
Like, also, a good community and a good group of people are always going to uplift other people in the community and support their projects.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a competition at all.
Right.
No, absolutely not. So we are all here to support each other and help each other, and it's just good. Like, if you have someone trying to tear someone else down, don't do that. And if you are trying to like try and reach out to like communities because you want to run a game or anything along those lines and you want to shoot your shot, try meeting us halfway in energy because we're tired. And we would love like the help, to be quite honest. And it will really just show that it's something you are serious about.
Exactly. And if you're interested, make sure you have like a decent microphone or headset or webcam, or that's like the investment on the player's end at the bare minimum,
Mm-hmm.
Because like if I ever was like, oh, I really want to do a stream game, like I can do that, but there's no me dressing up. Like that's something that just won't happen. I'll be like, I cannot, like I'm here, I'm a body.
For a beginner, honestly, I can say you can get if you're just a player, I can say you can get away with just like a laptop camera, a regular either cheap mic or your headset mic to start. The biggest thing I would suggest though is having a stable internet.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it's definitely a stable internet because cutting out in the middle of a stream can cause overlay tech problems if you leave the call.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that where it's like everyone just shifts into different boxes, and I'm like, oh no. Oh no.
It's hard. But yeah, out of those three, definitely stable internet is most important in my opinion.
That's a good one to have.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mare, we have been talking for, a good portion, Golden Sun, tabletop role-playing, Twitch, streaming stuff. And now, if you could kindly tell people where to find you or find what you're doing or what's coming up for you, tell them now what's going on. Where can people find you out there on the internets?
Hey, I'm Mare. You can find me on Twitter at ArchMageofDice. I am part of the leadership and a producer on the Twitch channel Friends Who Roll Dice, and on Twitter they are at Friends Who Roll. I am a game master, player, jack of all trades type of person in the TTRPG sphere, and I think by the time this airs, we will just be finishing up a Once More Into the Void game that I am producing for on Friends Who Roll Dice. Go check out the VODs. I am super proud of my assets for this game, and by the time this airs, I will be finishing up a game called Printweaver Journey on Friends Who Roll Dice. It pulls heavily from the Souls games, so a lot of dying and resurrection in a dark, gritty world. And I'm pulling inspiration from Numenera, like we talked about, as well as Horizon Zero Dawn, Breath of the Wild, and the game Journey, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm super hyped about that game. And I think that's all I got, at least that I can talk about right now.
Right.
Like, there's some stuff I can't talk about because it hasn't been released yet, and I don't want to count my eggs before they're hatched and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, you never, session zeros, and again, scheduling, scheduling is always the thing.
But yeah, check out my Twitter. I will probably be talking about stuff on there on like what I'm in. So.
Absolutely. And I will have the links not only to your Twitch and Twitter, but to the Friends Who Roll information as well on the show notes. So that way, if you're interested in checking out Mare or checking out what they do with Friends Who Roll, you can click on the links and go there, make sure to follow and, do all the stuff and, watch what Mare does and watch what Friends Who Roll Dice do and what they produce. And if you're interested, reach out in a respectful, but remember that everyone's tired manner. So
we
that
are
way,
all exhausted.
Yeah. So that way, you start off on the right foot and not on a the not so right foot, maybe the left foot. But Mare, I wanna say thank you. I know that we've been going back and forth trying to get you on this podcast for a while, but again, life happens, and I always tell people real life always comes first. But I know that I'm so, I guess, blessed, thrilled, glad that you and I have found each other as far as being on Twitter, and we might not always be in the same circle or gravity influence, planet, solar system type thing, but I'm always happy when Twitter lets me see what you're doing and what you're sharing with the world. And so thank you.
No, thank you. It has been an absolute delight to finally get to sit down and talk to you, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to Tales from the Fandom. Subscribe to us on iTunes or your podcast app of choice. Follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/talesfromthefandom to see photos, links, leave feedback, and check out upcoming guests. If you'd like to be a guest, email David at talesfromthefandom@gmail.com.